why Englishmen love England, and even love it in something of the same fashion themselves. Politicians who do not know the English spirit when they see it at home cannot, of course, be expected to recognise it abroad. Publicists are eloquently praising Abraham Lincoln for all the wrong reasons, but fundamentally for that worst and vilest of all reasons, that he succeeded. None of them seems to have the least notion of how to look for England in England, and they would see something fantastic in the figure of a traveller who found it elsewhere, or anywhere but in New England. And it is well perhaps that they have not yet found England where it is hidden in England, for if they found it they would kill it. All I am concerned to consider here is the inevitable failure of this sort of Anglo-American propaganda to create a friendship. To praise Lincoln as an Englishman is about as appropriate as if we were praising Lincoln as an English town. We are talking about something totally different. And indeed the whole conversation is rather like some such cross purposes about some such word as Lincoln, in which one party should be talking about the President and the other about the cathedral. It is like some wild bewilderment in a farce, with one man wondering how a president could have a church spire and the other wondering how a church could have a chin beard. And the moral is the moral on which I would insist everywhere in this book, that the remedy is to be found in disentangling the two and not in entangling them further. You could not produce a democrat of the logical type of Lincoln merely out of the moral materials that now made up an English cathedral town, like that on which old Tom of Lincoln looks down. But on the other hand, it is quite certain that 100 Abraham Lincolns working for 100 years could not build Lincoln Cathedral. And the farcical allegory of an attempt to make old Tom and old Abe embrace to the glory of the illogical Anglo-Saxon language is but a symbol of something that is always being attempted and always attempted in vain. It is not by mutual imitation that the understanding can come. It is not by erecting New York skyscrapers in London that New York can learn the sacred significance of the towers of Lincoln. It is not by English dukes importing the daughters of American millionaires that England can get any glimpse of the democratic dignity of American men. I have the best of all reasons for knowing that a stranger can be welcomed in America, and just as he is courteously treated in the country as a stranger, so he should always be careful to treat it as a strange land. That sort of imaginative respect, as for something different and even distant, is the only beginning of any attachment between patriotic peoples. The English traveller may carry with him at least one word of his own great language and literature, and whenever he is inclined to say of anything, "This is passing strange," he may remember that it was no inconsiderable Englishman who appended to it the answer, "And therefore as a stranger give it welcome." The end of chapter 14.